Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about Copilot. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, hi Frederick, could you talk about GitHub's Copilot initiative like really in depth? To me it seems that it will definitely have an impact on the number of developers that are needed in the future. I think you could even make several videos out of it from different angles. Like one could be a tutorial of you trying it in some frameworks. Another video could be about talking about which roles will be most affected. So if my memory serves, by the time that this video is released, Copilot will be old, maybe a year, maybe 2 years or something like that, because that is literally how many videos that I have lined up. And I'm a lazy person, so I just schedule things continuously rather than release multiple things every single day, because who wants that? And the reason why I take this question is because this is right now probably the number one, apart from the regular "Oh Frederick, how do I get my first software job?" question that I get. And I will tell you this same thing, more honest to God. I'm mostly making this because I need to ventilate a little bit about Copilot and this idea that it's going to steal people's jobs, because I kept on seeing these blog articles about, with that question and videos and so forth, will Copilot take my job? Will the impact? Should you blah 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 be afraid of Copilot, etc., etc. So the thing I wrote back to the subscriber was that I usually don't spend any type of effort on hypes that have no real relevancy. That's why you've never seen me do anything related to, I don't know. I think the closest thing I get at any point to doing something that is more related to like a hype type of thing is when I think I've evaluated Adonis at one point or something like that. I'm not saying that Adonis is a bad tool or that it's a hype. It's just that I just usually don't do this sort of stuff because I'm not a big fan of this like sensationalism that you find. As an example, the second Svelte got to be a little bit popular in the newsletters. There's like 1 billion people who's going to make videos about it because it's more about that this thing is new and themselves benefiting from it, not in the same to the same extent as this, but it's not about teaching people things that are super relevant. It's about other things. And when you make a video or a blog article explaining with the title "Should you be afraid of Copilot?", what you're literally doing is, well, it's of course up for interpretation, but to me it's very similar to how the newspapers will try to make the worst sounding or most sensational sounding title for any article to try to hook you. And usually the easiest way to do that is to tap into your fear, because we humans, we respond very strongly towards fear. It's a lot easier to scare people into listening to you than it is to, well, do anything else. So the way I feel about Copilot is that it's not a threat to anybody who is a professional software developer. And I mean, honestly, I think that Copilot can either become the best thing since sliced bread, or it will be a complete flop, because I don't think the average, like, completely rookie software developer understands how complicated the thing they're trying to do actually is. You like autocomplete in its essence, just without the AI aspect, is enormously complicated. It is probably one of the hardest problems that you can deal with when you're making an editor of some sort. And so just getting that part right is really complicated. And then adding the AI aspect is another layer, which makes it even more complicated, because I said I'll give you my first, and this is literally the first thing I heard from, I think I've glanced one blog article where this person described literally the first thing I thought when someone said to me, oh, we're gonna AI generate your code, and I went, how will it know what I want to write? Because I can imagine that Copilot might just sit there and I kind of go, well, I want to write this code and I know what I'm trying to write, and then it just gives me a bunch of irrelevant bullshit to autocomplete on. How will it know? Well, that's one of the problems. Like, it can get really good at that, and if it gets really good at that, then this is going to be like the best thing. If I can feel like a Copilot has like my back and knows that, oh, this is the thing he actually wants to write, then this is going to be great. But if it's going to be like, I don't know, like Google search engine, when you tap in a single word and it just auto completes to a bunch of nonsense that you have, like, it's not even remotely the thing you want to write, and it's not really useful. It's just going to be annoying, right? It doesn't have to go that way, but it could. And then there's the legal aspect. So Copilot works on the fact that it has access to an enormous amount of software or like source code. So some of that's going to be private, some of it's going to be public. Hopefully everything that is public is going to work. Another really interesting one will be, what's the security impact of this? Could Copilot be exploited? Like, if I write a bunch of hack code and I put in, that gets pulled into the AI, will it autocomplete with, say, JavaScript that steals my credentials? Probably not going to be a problem for a professional who knows what they're doing, but might be a problem for someone who has no fucking clue what they're doing and just auto-completing until, I don't know, things compile or things run. And see, this is the thing why I say that it's not a threat in any shape or form. And the people who are who are promoting the idea that this is something you should be scared of, they're either full of shit trying to scare you, or they're so ignorant that they've never done any professional grade software development. Honestly to God, I think that the biggest impact Copilot is going to have, if at all, let's see, regardless, this is like the one thing, regardless of if it's a flop or if it's a success, is that the people doing the code tests in the interviews, like, we will have more low-value developers coming into the pipeline, because now with Copilot they will start to think that, well, I have all these code tests and I can just use Copilot to autocomplete together the solution to the algorithm problem that I'm trying to solve or whatever. And the thing that they're not going to understand is that the second this becomes a common practice, unless it's already happening, which for most companies they do this already, you're going to go to a technical interview. And the people who are more experienced than, well, just coding with Copilot, they're going to eat you alive in the tech interview. And if you're really unlucky, you're going to sit there with me, and I will be able to tell if you know, the code that you wrote, if you actually know the first thing about what you actually created in a matter of minutes. And so it goes for every single person who's been doing this at a professional level for more than a little while. And that's the reason why I say the Copilot, like, this idea that it's going to replace you, it's ignorant at best. And only someone who's never done real software development will actually think that. Think about it yourself. Like, how will Copilot know if the code is doing what it's supposed to be doing? Do you think that there are open source projects for all the code that you could possibly write in your company's code base? Well, no, because your company code base is not part of the AI, most likely. And the feature that you are creating is not just something that you're going to be able to autocomplete. Do you think that you can autocomplete together, I don't know, this Google search algorithm? It's not going to work. You're going to be able to get some help from Copilot, I'm sure, but replacing you, it's ignorant. It's ignorant to the point where it's like hilarious. And the fact is that what you do as a software developer is that you take this input the verbal human input of a non-technical person who writes whatever they want in a story card, and that they want the system to do this, and then you convert that into working software. And only you as a human at this point you're the only thing that we have that is intelligent enough to know if this is actually the thing that is correct. And that process is going to have to stay there until we get to a point where Copilot is so intelligent that a person who has no knowledge of software and doesn't even know how to know if the code does what it's supposed to be doing can tell it, hey computer, make website, please no bugs. That's the level of AI that we would need in order for you to be completely redundant as a software developer. So what I want you to take away from this is that I really hope that Copilot will be this amazing tool that makes autocomplete the best thing ever, because I can imagine if it works like in an ideal scenario, it would be the best tool ever since, I don't know, Prettier or TypeScript, or there's so many that are great. So I really hope that that's going to be the way that it goes, but it can also completely flop, and it can become this really annoying like autocomplete IntelliSense type of thing that really isn't, it's not really ever going to be as good as we would like it to be. And for those of you who are afraid that it's going to steal your jobs or it's going to replace software developers, honest to God, you have to learn at least a little bit about the basics of machine learning and the role that a software developer has, and like kind of just if you just knew these tiny little details, you would understand that no serious programmer would be looking at Copilot as a threat to their job. Because if you can write all the code that you do in a day through just Copilot, then I don't even know where you work. I can't even imagine a place of work where that would be possible. Have a great day.